What's going on, people? It's your boy brasstax in this bitch. You already know. Listen, sometimes I impress myself, I ain't gonna lie to you. Who else is gonna give you James Bond reviews back to back to back to back? Just me, baby. Just me. Now we're on Spectre. Same director as Skyfall, but I think it falls flat. It comes across as a really deep, personal movie in the trailers, and even when you're watching the movie, but it doesn't dive as deep as it should. The cinematography is great. James Bond, Daniel Craig is great. The introduction to Christoph Waltz's character is one of the best I've seen. And as soon as you see him, you're thinking, wow, this is gonna be some crazy villain here. It's got all the elements. And then I just felt, as the movie went on, it just felt a little flat. And then you got this side plot, this subplot of them trying to bring MI6 to the modern era with technology. And I think what that does is it slows the movie down. I think there's some pacing issues. I thought there were some amazing set pieces, but overall, I think it's probably my third favorite Bond movie. It'd probably be Casino Royale first, Skyfall second, Spectre third, and then Quantum fourth. Quantum was trash. I'm sorry, I really did feel that way. But it's not a bad movie, but I just think they could have gone a lot deeper into this movie than they actually did. But look, Christoph Waltz is amazing. He's pretty much amazing in everything he does, but I think they could have done more with his character. And also, this is the follow-up to Skyfall. Javier Bardem was amazing, so Christoph Waltz had some tough shoes to fill. I think Batista is the big bad in this movie. He's like the Jaws of this movie. Was he necessary? I don't know. I did like the fight scene on the train though. God damn, shit was amazing. So cinematography is A1. I mean, there's a lot of people who liked Spectre, and I think people criticize Skyfall for not having enough action in it. And I think the director decided, you know what, let's just switch it up a little bit. But you'd be forgiven for thinking this was filmed by a totally different director, because it doesn't feel like the same director of Skyfall, but it is. Cool movie, I'd watch it if it's on, but I wouldn't go out of my way to watch it as if it was Skyfall or Casino Royale. You don't want to hear my thoughts on the movie, but I gave them to you anyway in this bitch. Let's talk about the 4K transfer. So people, it's a 66 gig disc, and you got the black bars. It's shot in 35mm, visual effects 2K, digital intermediate 4K. And I need to make an amendment because I did believe I said Skyfall was a 2K DI, but in fact it was a 4K. So my bad. Sometimes I get information from certain places and I guess shit's wrong. Sometimes I'm wrong with the DI sometimes. I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. But this, just like Skyfall, is a 4K DI, Dolby Vision, DTS HD 7.1 master audio. People, this was shot on film, so there is going to be some grain. In some cases, it's a little heavier than others, but for the most part, it's a fairly clean image considering. That opening scene in Mexico looks very, very tasty indeed. It's got a nice sepia vibe, the reds stand out, everything looks very tasty. On par, I'd say, with Skyfall. Maybe in part Skyfall looks a little better, but the color palette and the way things are shot here are quite different. But generally, it's a nice upgrade from the 1080p, great detail on close-ups. The suit, the whole skeletal suit thing that Bond is wearing, oh my god, you can make out a lot more detail on this than you could do on the 1080p for sure. All the folds in the suits, the girl he's with, oh my gosh. That little burgundy dress you got on, baby. Oh my gosh. I'm looking at it right now. I'm loving it. Like, you know, when he's walking across the buildings at the top where he's taking aim with a sniper. Was it a sniper rifle? I think it's a sniper rifle. You see the little textures on his suit. A lot more detail shown here. A nice, colorful opening to this movie and lovely detail. And because it's 4K, you got the added resolution. You've got a bump in the sharpness also. Daniel Craig this time has a few more thousand wrinkles than he did in Skyfall. Just a few here and there. Christoph Waltz, few more wrinkles up close. You can see details on the pupils. And generally the set pieces look great with that extra 4Kage, if you get what I'm saying. In chapter 4, there's an aerial shot where James Bond is walking across the pavement and you see that lovely circular textured ground where Moneypenny is talking to him in that little blue dress. Big Moneypenny fan, I ain't gonna lie to you. You see more textures in the grounds and the buildings, the brickwork and what have you. Looks very good. Indoor scenes display a little bit more film grain, a little bit more noise. but it's nothing overpowering. It's nothing that's going to upset grain haters. Now, with the added resolution, you've got the added depth, and there's definitely a layer of 3D pop here. Foreground, background, a lot of space between characters, a lot of three-dimensional pop, especially in the opening scene and some of the bigger set pieces where most of the action's going on. Black levels are dark and inky once again, especially in the film's climax. You've got the chopper going down. It's all shot at night. And in night, you're noticing a lot more cars, a lot more street light, the shimmering off the river. As good as the 1080p looked, I think it missed a hell of a lot of detail in the black levels. Can I just say, the girls of Spectre do not disappoint. Monica Bellucci looking A1. The girl at the beginning, what's her name in the movie? Estrella? Oh my gosh, looking fantastic. All the girls looking amazing. With that 4K sheen, they're looking even more beautiful than they did in 1080p. With the added depth, you feel that they're kind of popping out of the screen a little bit here and there. It's always a good look. So hey, you want to know what the HDR is like? So you've dealt with Christoph Waltz's character at the end of the movie. You throw your gun into the river. You're walking up to Madeline, and Madeline's like, let's go somewhere. Let's get drunk, let's celebrate. But then Moneypenny comes and joins the two of you, and she says, you know what? Let's go somewhere, let's celebrate. You know what? Monica Bellucci comes out of nowhere. She says, let's go somewhere and let's celebrate. You know what? Estrella from the beginning of the movie comes to you and she says, you know what? Let's all of us go out and celebrate. You can only imagine what happens next. That's what the HDR is like. Really like the HDR in this, really like the colors. At the beginning of the movie, the color just pops. You're in Mexico, you're seeing all of this shit, looking like Mardi Gras in this bitch, yeah? Although it's a sepia kind of vibe, there is a lot of pop in the color. Reds really pop out in this movie. And so did the, oh shit, just got distracted, chapter 8. Monica Bellucci just sitting on the bed talking to James Bond. Oh shit. You got scenes where he's in his Aston Martin and he's driving into the night. He's got the full beams on. Shit can be a little blinding at times, I ain't gonna lie to you. Overall, I would say the disc itself is a tad darker than Skyfall. Just a tad. When the brights kick in, they really kick in. When James Bond is captured and he's trapped in the chair, and when he wakes up, it's a very bright image. Is it panty dropping HDR? No, but you will definitely appreciate it. 100%. I think it's definitely got better HDR implementation than the previous movies. Larger color space at work, you're noticing that in the scenes in the snow, where James Bond's on the ground, you see his glove, and you see the light reflecting off his leather glove. I know it's a lot of things. I look at a lot of things when I see this shit, I ain't gonna lie to you. But generally, HDR is very appreciable. Dolby Vision adds more to some of the bright scenes. Doesn't really add much in terms of punch throughout the movie. There are some scenes here and there, especially in bright scenes, that benefit from the pop that Dolby Vision gives. But is it a night and day difference? No. Once again, you're not really missing out, to be honest. Now, Monica Bellucci, Moneypenny, and all the girls of James Bond are going to do it for you. But what's it going to do for your goal? Is the HDR enough for your goal? I don't know. But if it isn't, you tell your girl to sit on the woofer and see what happens. You know what's going to happen? The Coochie is going to be impressed. 100%. It's going to be impressed because now she's dealing with a 7.1 track. And it's bassy and it's thumping. And when that happens, you get the vibrations. Vibrations are always a good thing when the Coochie's involved. I ain't gonna lie to you. This movie has really good surround sound. Especially in the action sequences. Very detailed, very crispy. The dialogue is nice and clear in the center channels. Great highs and great lows. But here's the problem. It's exactly the same 7.1 track that exists on the 1080p. You're not really gaining anything. It's like your girlfriend's Coochie is revisiting an old ex that she had fun with. She'll be back. You're still the Atmos. You're still the DTS-X. She'll come back to you, but she may have fun for one night. In terms of how this compares to the iTunes version, the 4K on digital looks pretty close to this release. But the Daniel Craig collection on iTunes lacks HDR, and that's a really important point. And where the disc wins every time is the colors. And what the colors do is they add a layer of depth in the colors, add a layer of detail. So the digital just doesn't compete. If iTunes had HDR implementation, we may be having a very different conversation. But as for now, all four movies are clearly the very best way to watch them. And there you have it, people. My review of Spectre. I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10 in terms of picture quality, and in sound quality, I'd probably give it an 8 because I think the soundtrack is really good. But like I said, should have got Atmos on these, but what can you do? So overall, I give it an 8 for both. There you have it, guys. I'm gonna leave a link. If you want to pick it up through Amazon, you go ahead. Costs you nothing, but Amazon kick a little something back for your boy. When I put a review up, I put screenshots up on the Facebook page. So I'm gonna leave a link for you guys there. Definitely go check it out. If you're still on the fence, maybe that might help make up your mind. But that's pretty much it, guys. You take care. 4K Rockstar. I'm gonna skip some chapters, watch some more Monica Bluray. You take care. I'll catch you soon.